No singing today?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that was a one-day thing. I think the audience loved it. Can't bring that back every time. But
Show with
well,
Jake
there you go.
and
Perfect. Perfect intro there. Nolan singing going to be a new segment on the Osmo.com NHL DFS strategy show, Friday show, and we actually have a decent size slate. I don't know about how great it is, but we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the free stuff we have going on. We're going to talk about the free week we have going on that expires tonight. I see a bunch of you have signed up even today. So if you haven't yet taken advantage of this free week trial we're offering, we don't really do free week trials anymore, free trials at all. NHL free week is the promo code. You can see that actually. So we've got a new layout on the show, so you can see that actually above us. The ticker is up there. So NHL Free Week is the promo code. You get 7 days of the NHL Weekly or NHL Weekly Express packages, and you will not get billed for 7 days. And it's great because you get access to Slack, you get access to ownership projections, which just dropped for DraftKings, and then did I mention Slack? And then your line changes article as well. Are you doing one of those today, or because it's a shorter slate?
just dropped it.
Awesome. Perfect. So that's partly, that's another big part of what you're going to get with your NHL free week promo code. So take advantage. It is expiring tonight. This will probably not happen for the near future. So take advantage, get your free week, and maybe stick around if you like what we're offering. We're presented by Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Yahoo is a great place to play if you're looking for some lower management fees, and I think you should be. DFS is tough these days, and Yahoo makes it a little bit easier, a little bit weaker competition. Not like, it's not free money or anything, but I think you're going to see a few less pros over on Yahoo. Some smaller contests, but ones that are going to be more profitable long term. So go get familiar with the Yahoo scoring. I like playing over there for NFL. 200K prize pool in their baller this week, 20K to first. Flatter payout, 20K to first, 10K to second, and then third, fourth, fifth, 6th through 10th get 2K. So even if you have a little sweat going, it's not like you go from 50K to $300 or anything. If you finish in the top, I think it's 15. You automatically get $1,000 off of a $10 entry in the 200K baller over on Yahoo. And then if you want to sign up for Yahoo, if you haven't quite done it yet, promo code AWESOMO will give you up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points on your initial deposit. All right. What else do we got? Oh, free stuff. Today we've got Alex's live blog is free today for NBA. He kind of goes through and breaks down the news as it comes in each day. So this will get updated throughout the day. And he's not on... He's on the deeper dive actually today, so that'll be going on right after we're done here at 5 Eastern. He'll be on with Adam, Ship My Money Share, and go check out that the live blog, and then the NHL. Let's see, NHL lineup builder is also free today. I don't have the correct link for that right now, but if you go to tools on the site, lineup builder, and then select NHL, I think you'll be able to. Actually, you'll be able to see the free version. So I'll get you guys the link for that once we figure it out. We're actually figuring it out right now. But that will be free, and you guys can export straight from it. You can click on all these players. You can see the stack projection, the player projection, and all that good stuff. So pretty cool tool if you like to hand build. How did last night go for you, Nolan?
Oh, not so good.
Me either.
Actually, did not have enough Connor McDavid in my lineups. So.
I thought I did. Thought I was buried anyways by the Tampa chalk, and if McDavid wouldn't have gone off, it would have been a really, really brutal night for me. So I think I ended up getting like a third of my entry fees back, which I wasn't even too mad about after I saw just how the Tampa power play stack was still, I think, in the nut lineup, or like Stamkos, Palat or something like that, and I just wasn't super heavy on them, whereas a lot of people went crazy heavy. So looking at the $20 tournament last night on DraftKings, a bunch of familiar names up at the top. Draft Charts, Mr. Good Seats, and Slewfoot up there in the top 3 spots. So they all put 141 lineups in, which was the max entry. 4,113 total entries in the $20. Draft Charts took it down, and I think the same lineup in the $10 as well. So just a huge night here. Did it with a Edmonton power play stack. I think I recommended this, but I should have taken my own advice. You leave off Zach Kassian and go with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins, and then this is exactly what he did. So congrats to him. Killorn, Palat, and I believe Stamkos. Yeah, it was Stamkos as his three-man forward. Yeah, three-man forward Tampa stack. Eric Cernak, 18.9 DK points. Didn't even need Brennan Gooley, but he did have Gooley in there at 2,700. And then Laurent Brossoit, 19 points there. Surprised Nolan wasn't on Tampa 4. That was about my 5th most used line in the $8 last night. Were you on any Tampa 4?
No. Is that the Maroon line?
Yeah, Maroon and Yanni Gourde, and I don't even know.
Cedric Paquette. No, I didn't have any. That's a good call, though. I like that in retrospect.
Yeah. Why did Chalk McDavid score 100 points? It's a good question, Raj. I know Raj was dominating with a bunch of Tampa power play stacks over on FanDuel, and then that happened. So probably pretty tilted still. You got something going on your laptop over there?
I just had the YouTube pulled up.
Listening to us on delay, I like your style. Yeah, so it was a really good night for the pros. It was not a good night for me, but a bunch of max enterers ended up getting there, or getting near the top, I should say. Not getting there. I always feel like getting there is like it's kind of condescending, like, oh, the so-and-so people got there and stuff like that. So I try not to say that when we're talking about really good players. I think all these guys are. Mr. Goodseats dominating some hockey, it looks like, lately. I've seen him up there a couple of times. More of an NFL and I think NBA player, and MLB, of course.
Kind of a who's who up at the top here, right?
Yeah, in that $20 for sure. Emax saying he's loving the Osmo projections once again. I made $5, geez, with 0 McDavid. That's pretty impressive to even make any money without McDavid. Quick, let's look at it was the $8, not the $10 last night. DK can't make up their mind. Draft charts, once again, same lineup. And I want to look at just his exposures really quick and see how heavy he actually was on McDavid. Super flat across the board. Wow. This is about as flat of exposures I've seen. Just, not playing everyone because it's not that easy, but I don't think he had no forwards above 10.7% in his lineups. Have you heard of that before? 10.7%. So he was underweight on McDavid, but he did have Nugent Hopkins in that one lineup. So, I mean, spread out his exposures really well. A bunch of guys in like the 8 to 10% range. And I mean, if you're playing 150 lineups, I guess that's still like 12 lineups. So 12 to 15 lineups or whatever. But yeah, really, really awesome job by Draft Charts. Seth min-cashed on Yahoo last night. If you want to lineup review that, I think we're going to pass, but I like you supporting Yahoo, Seth, because they are the presenting sponsor of the Osmo.com NHL strategy show. Seth's been dominating over on Yahoo. Love to see that.
He?
I don't know. He's won a couple times, but he doesn't tell us about the losses, like a true DFS tout.
Yeah, exactly. He's always sharing his wins on Twitter.
Speaking of my losses, you can see I took a beating here. If you guys caught me down here way at the bottom, I had a top 50 lineup. That was the end of things that were good. 30 lineups cashed out of 150. Brutal. Has not been a good week. B. Kreider did not have the crystal ball last night, but he did cash 51 entries, so must have had a bunch of McDavid and a top score of 203. All right, man. Want to talk about these games? I think we're probably going to get done pretty early, so we'll see. We'll see how deep we can dive into these. All right, let's go to Boston and Toronto. 3.2 implied total for the Bruins, 3.3 for the Leafs. Tuukka Rask and Freddie Anderson in net. Big rivalry game here over the last couple years. Any news that we need to talk about?
Boston switched up their lines a little bit. Both teams switched up their lines just a little bit. They Anders Bjork's up on the second line with Krejci and Coyle. Danton Heinen down on the fourth line. Trent Frederic comes in for Zach Senchen. And I think that's it. Torrey Krug's still out. From the Toronto side of things, Jason Spezza draws in. Kerfoot is injured, I believe. He's out. Third lines for Spezza with Mikheyev and Trevor Moore. Nick Batan's on the fourth line with Shore and Gauthier.
Very nice. What do you like in this game? Like, what jumps off the page? And
Well,
talking about ownership, it's not free
Yeah.
today, but just talking generally about ownership, is there any surprises you see in this game? I know there was maybe one guy you were thinking might be a little bit higher than you expected.
Yeah, I just saw Austin Matthews 21%. So I thought that's higher than I thought it would be, just because people don't usually target going up against Boston and going up and probably, but maybe like it's going to end up with Tavares going up against the Bergeron line. And then Matthews will be freed up to go against some of this Boston depth. Still not a great matchup, but also surprised at some of that ownership as well. Boston won actually a little lower than I thought, but still one of the higher owned stacks of the night, I am sure. What's your take on our ownership here?
Yeah, I figured we'd see some Boston chalk, Boston 1 chalk, that is. They're up there, but it's pretty flat across the board, as it is on most nights. I don't think there's like one slam dunk line or really team tonight. I think it's a pretty wide open slate, and that's not usually the case for Boston. For Boston slates, it's like either Boston 1 or just go completely bust. And they're so expensive, they're so restrictive. So that's the only issue I have with them here is their restrictive pricing. But I'm still finding a way to get to, I think, over where we have them at. So, it's kind of one of those things where if you're a multi-entry player, I don't know how you just straight up fade Boston 1. Especially on a short slate like this. People in chat joke like, all right, they need 4 goals to hit value. And I think of it like a completely different way. Not completely different, but they just have to be the highest scoring stack.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're probably going to be able to find a value stack that scores multiple goals.
I think maybe that's like a very NBA way of thinking about the NHL, but like essentially, like especially on these smaller slates, it's really just a question of, are they going to be one of the 2 highest scoring lines in the slate, and really are they going to be one of the 2 highest scoring high price lines in the slate as well? There are other ways to think about that. You could kind of, you could have 2 kind of moderately priced lines go off and fit in the same lineup, but that's sort of how I generally think about it. So.
Right. So, I'm not worried about the price. There's some lines that I can fit. You could do a Boston Josh stack with the second line if you wanted to do that. Leave someone off, add in a defenseman. There's ways to get different. There's Grzelcyk at 3,700. I know he's not going to be different, but if you wanted to power play stack it and save some money and increase your correlation on Boston 1,
I think if you're double stacking, the only line that I think the 2 lines that you want to avoid are Columbus 3 and Columbus 2. 10% ownership about for Columbus 3 and 6-7, something like that for Columbus 2.
Yeah.
Those are going to be stacked heavily with Boston 1 tonight.
Yep. I think that, with 150 lines, I might only have those combos maybe once or 0 times and just say, all right, if I'm playing Boston 1, I'm taking a chance that, first of all, you're taking the chance that Boston 1 needs to be a high scoring stack, like you said, but also like, do I want them paired with the line that everyone is obviously going to have paired with them, or should I, get another weird line, take a 4th line, take a 3rd line on the road or something that people aren't looking at as much. And so that's also an interesting strategy and a way to approach Boston's top line here. As far as matchups go, so they haven't had Zach Hyman, right, for a home game until tonight. I think this is his first home game, certainly his first home game against Boston. I would think they're going to try to go Tavares, Hyman, Kapanen for the most part against Boston 1. But since Boston 1's just going to play so much and they don't get the luxury of last change, I think you're going to see them go up against both of the Toronto top 2 lines. So it makes it difficult because it's like, all right, Toronto 1 I think is the best play. Hopefully they avoid enough time against against the Bergeron line to make them viable, and maybe they get a power play or 2, and you get some help there with your stack. But they're just too cheap, I think, even in a pretty tough matchup. It's not like the Krejci line is that easy, like to run over or anything like that. Boston's pretty tough, but the pricing I think is too low for Toronto 1 especially. So I'm getting there a lot. I mean, I kind of completely agree with the ownership, and that's a little bit worrisome when that happens.
Yeah, fair.
Let's see. Why you need a line matching help when it's simple. The home team gets to send their last line out, so they're going to get the best line of the best line they see fit. Really not hard to me, anyways. Yep, that's exactly what we were just talking about. But here, the waters are a little bit muddy because we haven't had Hyman, and because Toronto hasn't really been doing much line matching. So that's why I think that it's going to be probably a little bit of both of Toronto's top two lines against Boston one. What other lines do you like in this game? Any?
No, I don't know. Nothing really stands out to me, to be honest. Toronto. Like, yeah, you? I don't know.
Not really. So it's kind of the top lines, and then let me do a quick search. Ownership just came out right before the show, so trying to. While you're
Toronto
talking, I'm trying to look.
Not going to get any ownership, but
Boston 2 is probably a little bit underowned, just based on their value. And I mean, that might be a line where if you think Boston has a chance to score 4 or 5 or 6 goals or something crazy, like very few people are going to pair forwards with forwards from the same team. So that might be a spot where, Boston 1 scores 3 goals. If Columbus 3 stays quiet and all of a sudden you get a goal from Boston 2, you get maybe an empty net situation with Coyle or Krejci or something like that. Like, there's reasons to also consider the full-on top 6 stack for Boston too.
Yeah, for sure. Though, like, Boston's total isn't that high, right? 3.2. Like, it's not like, it's not getting in that 4 range where, I don't know, I personally like to go with my double stacks. Sure. But
no, that's fair. And I think the Leafs haven't been as wide open this season, and I think what's his name, Babcock. I think he's even said, I don't know, the one coach I forget, like one of the more famous coaches. But I think he's even said he likes this like grinded out style of play, which makes absolutely no sense when you got Tavares and Matthews and all these.
He's
all
like
these nasty skaters.
I don't know. Some people still think he's like the greatest coach. Well, in the NHL today, I'm less and less sure of that every day.
Yeah, I have no idea.
He was rolling lines in the playoffs.
Right, he wasn't even playing like Matthews or the Tavares line like 20 minutes in playoff games too. And it's not like they were super deep. So, anyways, what about defensemen here? Mentioned Grzelcyk, maybe McAvoy as a way to get different with your Boston 1 stack. He's probably going to see a lot of even strength line time with that line, as he usually does, more so at home when they're in a shutdown role. But I think here too, they'll see quite a bit of time, him and Chara. So if you want to take one of those guys and spend up a little bit from Grzelcyk, those are going to be the guys I think that play the most time with Boston 1. And then on the other side, my guy, Tyson Berry, 4K, just too cheap, more of a one-off guy because, well, I guess you could go with, you could play him with Toronto 2, the Tavares line, but I'm not really that concerned with the Toronto second unit power play when Matthews, Janssen, Nylander, and Tavares are on their top power play. Like, I think that's very clearly going to get the majority of the time. Any defensemen that stick out to you?
I'm just really surprised at Grzelcyk's ownership here. We have him for 2%, which is like he was at 18. Granted, he was 2,700 last game, but that's a huge drop off. And like I know that McAvoy and Chara got most of the ice time with him, but he's still a bargain at that price in the top power play unit. And like if you want to, he's really going to be that low owned. I think that just putting him into your Boston 1 lineups will give you enough differentiation.
Yeah, we've got McAvoy low as well. I think.
Did I miss something?
No, I think you're right. I think that might be just a mistake, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I think Grzelcyk's going to be quite a bit.
He's going to be 10% owned, right?
Yeah, I would think in like the 10% range. Grzelcyk might be. So maybe we forgot the power play 1 tag or something there, because he's just a logical correlation play on the power play with Boston 1.
And then like a lot of these Toronto defensemen are popping up in our projections, so. I'm just going to trust them. Cody Ceci's priced down. He's just been like, I don't know why. Our predictions just love Cody Ceci. So.
He just plays a lot of minutes, blocks. I mean, he's not great.
Yeah,
but
blocks. Like it's not a high upside play, but I'm fine with it. 2,900 and Tyson Berry as well at 4,000 is a bargain. So I will have a fair amount of him tonight.
I like it. And someone asked a good question in chat. Would you one-off Grzelcyk I would try to avoid that. It's difficult if you're running a ton of lineups tonight, unless you just make a group. But what I might do is just go through and see all my Grizz like one-off, like not create a group or a rule, and just see what I like and maybe pivot because he is an optimizer play here, I think. And so I think his ownership's going to be higher than what we're showing right now.
Yeah, and like an assist first guy too. I think less a shoot first guy, more of an assist guy. So
yeah, exactly. All right, let's go to Pittsburgh and New Jersey. We've got a 3.1 implied total for the Penguins, 2.9 for the Devils. I think this total dropped during the day. I think it was at 6.5 earlier. Now closer to 6. Matt Murray and Mackenzie Blackwood. Murray is not confirmed just yet, but Blackwood is. And he might even start tomorrow. I don't know why they would say that, but the Devils coach said that we'll see how tonight goes, and then he might start tomorrow. So for whatever reason, they're going out of their way to start their goalie.
Got to choose from.
Yeah. Anything new here?
Yeah, some new lines for the Penguins. Malkin, Rust, Gwenzel, Bukestad between Lafferty and Galchenyuk. The fourth line stays together. They actually led the team in ice time last in 5-on-5 ice time as a combo, 25% last game out. Jared McCann between Simon and Cahoon. Letang still out. Crosby still out. So kind of like the Devils side of this one a little bit. Might be more likely to target them, even though they disappointed. And then on the New Jersey side, Jesper Boqvist and Jesper Boqvist and Zaka switched spots, I think. Yeah, so Zaka was possibly on the wing. I can't remember. But anyways, it's Hischier, Boqvist, and Bratt on the second line, and Zaka, Simmons, and Wood on the fourth line. So
yeah, this isn't going to be one of my higher exposed games, I don't think. I'll have some shares of each team's top line. I don't think it's a bad matchup for Hughes, Hall, Palmieri. I'm just a little bit gun shy on them after last game. Like, they didn't generate anything against Ottawa. And now, Malkin and Gensel and Rust, I don't think that's going to be a really that tough of a defensive line. But you still have to generate chances, and they just haven't really been doing that. With Hughes,
have any of these New Jersey lines stood out at all this year in terms of chance generation?
Well, actually, they had. Actually, I think the second line it's Hischier, Bratt, and then I think it's Boqvist, or maybe it's Zaka. I can't remember. One of the lines I know had, or no, it's Gusev. It's Gusev. But they're split up now, so they had really, really good numbers for a few games. So maybe I would be looking to get to there, or maybe you go to New Jersey too. They're dirt cheap, but it's probably going to be like if I go 3-2-1, some Hall one-offs, 6,600. Kind of him and Palmieri really the only guys I'm trusting right now. This might be another optimizer play where they're just highly owned because they're pretty cheap and they're locked in for some good minutes and all that stuff. I'm not in love with the spot though, to be honest.
That's fair. Yeah, Taylor Hall we have projected as the second highest owned winger on the slate. So
third right now.
Third?
OV, Pasta, Hall.
I have Pasta 18.8, Hall 19.8.
Oh, I'm looking at projections. There we go. You're right. I was looking at projections. Ownership projections is what you were talking about. So yeah, OV then Hall. It's a good price for one of the best wingers in the NHL in Hall at 6,600. But the ownership's going to be there, and you can't just drag this line through Pittsburgh. They haven't been as bad defensively as I thought they would be. So I don't know. They've done an okay job. Now Letang's out, obviously, but the Devils have just been really, really boring. Is the best way to describe them so far.
Oh my God! I just caught a look at that JG Pageau price too. Wow, that's insane.
7K. I haven't even looked at his price.
62.
62. Yeah. He's been good, but yikes. Any depth lines here like Bukestad?
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh 4. What do you think about that one?
Bluger, Aston Reese, Brandon Tanev. Oh boy, I've got a personal vendetta against Brandon Tanev after he got that shorthanded OT goal when he wasn't on the top line and people played him on the top line. So, no, I mean...
They're getting ownership, too, so cancel that. 3% ownership for Pittsburgh 4. That's crazy.
For Pittsburgh 4?
Yeah. Bluger's at 3%. I got to look this up more. 10 of 3%. Aston Reese. I don't know. They got a lot of ice time last game, and they were kept together, but That's crazy.
I kind of like the third line for Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
McCann,
I mean, if they're going to
Cahoon,
be 150
Simone.
ownership, why not?
Yeah. Give me some of that. Spend up a little bit. You could still fit them with
But they're
Boston
not.
one.
They're still their own. I think as well, though. I'm way more inclined to just fade Pittsburgh here on reputation alone, just because they're missing. I think Letang's a huge loss for that offense, and people
Crosby.
just factor that in as well. And of course Crosby, but
Yeah,
I feel like Letang just has like an effect down the whole lineup.
for sure. Yeah, and we've only had one game without Crosby, and then now new lines after that first game. Just kind of notes. I noted on the last game that Malkin, Rust, and Simone was actually a good line. I was looking forward to playing some of them. I figured that Malkin would get ownership, but not Rust and Simone, and now they're split up. So
Yeah.
it's more obvious where you go on Pittsburgh here with this 3.1 implied total, and you got Malkin and Gensel correlating on the power play. People will still leave off Rust though, so maybe leave him on. He's still expensive at 5,400 though. So I'm just not in love with really anything here. And then ownership doesn't really sway me one way or the other with the high ownership on the Devils and kind of no obvious Pittsburgh line to go to that isn't being owned. And Pittsburgh 4 getting ownership, I don't know, dude. Maybe you just jam in like a bunch of Boston 1 and Pittsburgh 4. I'll go elsewhere. Defenseman? Butcher?
Yeah, I think Butcher got some ownership last game. He managed to score. I think he's fine at 3,300, 25 minutes though. Like he's gotten 25, 22, 24, 25 minutes since Vatanen's been out. So I think even if he's not shooting a lot and he doesn't do a lot, but those minutes are high and at that price point, I think he's just fine. Schultz as well is fine for me at that price point. I'm not super excited about it, but don't hate it. And then PK Subban, I don't know, just can't get excited about him. Not on the power play one, but probably rather go elsewhere. But of course, he's got all the talent in the world. So
right, you take if you're going with New Jersey 1 or Pittsburgh 1, you go Schultz with Pittsburgh 1 probably, and then I think Butcher stinks for DFS, but he is in a good situation and he is at a good price. So yeah, I guess the assists are there, but he would be a guy.
That was a goal.
I think. Exactly. And I just got lucky playing Cale Makar, but that was a guy who was actually shooting 6-7 times attempts per game, and Butcher just I hope people go back to
him. We also have him projected for low ownership, though I would expect it to be much higher than that.
Yeah, I think PP1
like 8% or something.
Yeah, just PP1 and $3,300 alone and on a chalkier team, like when people jam in their power play stacks.
Might be a really good fade tonight if the ownership's there for sure.
Yeah, I always like being low on Will Butcher. So, the only way I would have him, I think.
Devil's Nick Leddy.
Yeah, I think Leddy's better. Yeah, for DFS. And Leddy's probably a better player just overall. So I think I'm going to make a Butcher group and say if I play Butcher, I'm playing one of the New Jersey 1 guys at least. So that's how I'm handling that. Let's move on to Montreal and Washington. 2.9 implied total for the Canadiens. 3.6 for the Caps. Carey Price and Ilya Samsonov, not Braden Holtby, going for the Caps. Any changes?
Actually one late change here. I don't know if it's been updated on Daily Faceoff. Let me just double check. It's not really major though. The fourth line for the they've got Leipzig listed on here. They're going to dress apparently 11 defense. So they have Tyler Lewington. They just called up from the NHL. It is updated now. They're going to dress 7 forwards and 11 D, which would mean I don't know if Lewington's going to go on that fourth line or maybe we'll actually see some other forwards double shifting with the fourth line. Like you could see Ovi double shifting with the fourth line maybe. So that's extra ice time for him, but nothing. I don't know. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's also his off wing, I think, too. So. And then what's the other team there? Montreal. I got nothing from Montreal. One small change. I think their fourth line as well. Jordan Wheel in and what's his face got sent down. Some kid.
I don't even remember.
Pulling.
Yeah. There you go. So I think you might even see some increased ice time for Washington 1 and really Kuznetsov maybe. Their lines might get a little bit jumbled if they might just forego playing this fourth line for any sort of regular time and just get shifts here and there and maybe see Lipsick at literally 6 minutes or something. Yeah, Kuznetsov did a decent amount of double shifting last game. he probably will do that again here. But anyways, as far as this game goes, I can't really peg the matchups here. Backstrom, Ovi, Oshie usually goes up against top competition. Some teams treat the Domi line as top competition. Some teams treat Dano, Drouin, and Gallagher, or I guess Dano and Gallagher. They had Tatar up there earlier. They don't want to put him back, but I still like Montreal 1 quite a bit. And I'm getting there more and more with the Caps right now. Wasn't getting to much of them earlier, but when I kind of adjusted a few things, I think their ownership looks really good. And not talking about Ovi, because people will one off Ovi, but I'm talking about the stack overall. Backstrom is really expensive, but if Ovi goes off, there's a good chance that Backstrom has a multi-point game. So I'm kind of okay paying $7K and just stacking it up if I'm playing Ovi here. And they're going to be one of my highest owned stacks, maybe my highest owned by the time I factor in this ownership.
Washington 1.
Yep.
All right, I like it. I was actually pretty surprised to see that goal total so high. So
against Price, yeah. And it's not like I don't think Montreal's bad or anything.
No.
But like Washington they're just so efficient. Like they always overperform their metrics, which can be really frustrating at times. And like they're overpriced here, or Backstrom's overpriced. You could argue that Oshie's probably overpriced. And then you've got Ovi, and everybody loves playing him. So he's probably not overpriced at 8,200. But if they get matched up against Domi and Armia or the third line, even better. So I think they're going to have decent matchups no matter what. If they go up against Dano, Gallagher, Drouin, I don't think that's too bad either. I don't know how they kill me here, I guess. So I'm getting to more and more of them.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. And like I think also targeting the other side of this game is fine too. We've been, we always target Washington a little bit, so that's an okay. I just lost my stats here. And I think the pay up to be contrarian spot here is Washington 2. They're going to get no ownership at their current price points. So if you have, I don't know, if you want to go for like a chalkier stack and put a chalkier mid-price stack and put in Washington 2, I think that would be fairly unique.
Yep, I like that. Or something you could probably do is like Columbus 1 and Washington 2, because everyone's going to play Columbus 2 and 3 with Boston 1. But if
That's
kind of a couple mid-tier lines have outlier performances, you might be doing okay. And I like the Kuznetsov or Wilson line. They're just second fiddle by a good margin to the Backstrom line for me right now.
It's a good line. Yeah, it's just a little bit overpriced.
Yep. Man, Wilson's turned into not just a goon too. Like he's got some offensive upside these last couple of years, which is kind of weird to see because his first few years he was just a goon who played with Ovi. But I always forget he was like a number 1 overall pick or first round pick, high first round pick. People will correct me in chat, but yeah, man, weird stuff that you're considering Tom Wilson at 5,600 in tournaments.
Man, I totally agree with you there. Yeah, he looks like, I don't know, he's not just like a net front presence, and he's not even on the power play 1 anymore, right? So,
no.
Man, I'm looking at this slate. We have a lot of the best defensive teams in terms of scoring chances against on this slate.
Yeah.
Penguins 2, Flyers 3, Devils number 4. Boston 9, Capitals 11, Montreal 12. Only one of the bottom 15 teams in scoring chances against is on this slate today.
Yeah, Washington.
That's the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah,
that's crazy, right? Like every single one of that's like it's huge.
Ovi has 1 goal in his last 6 home games. I don't really pay attention to that much. I don't think there's a reason that Ovi should not get a bunch of shots here, at least attempts. So they might not go in.
Great one-off if you're 3-2-1ing. I think good one-off.
Oh, always. Yeah.
As well as Kuznetsov. Yeah. So.
I don't like one-offing Kuznetsov as much, just because he's more of a playmaker. But I mean, one-offing Ovi. I thought you were talking about Ovi. Yeah.
One-off Ovi. I don't think. I don't think one-offing Kuznetsov's bad though.
Oh, I don't think it's bad, but like he's not 6,600. Like, yeah, he has the multi-goal upside, but I feel like more. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like it's more.
No, he does. He does. Like you're not with Ovi, right? But at the same time, like he's 1/4 of the ownership. I guess is the only advantage of that.
Fair enough. And I think last Friday maybe the Kuznetsov one-off did the thing for whoever binked. So it has happened before. Washington or Montreal 3. What do you think here? Suzuki, Tatar, Lehkonen, kind of like that.
Yeah, not bad.
Just probably going to get softer matchups. If you go up against Backstrom, Ovi, Oshie, yeah, they're tough offensively, but I think defensively they're not a liability or anything, but they can be scored on for sure. So I just like the price point. Maybe another line you could jam in with Boston one, and then defenseman, $7,900 John Carlson.
When's his price going to go down? God,
I don't know. What did he do? Did he ball out last game again? I mean, it's got to be a game log thing at some point for DK. They just he's been really good. He's been incredibly consistent, but
he's still getting 12 points minimum every single game. So
yeah, he's probably going to get a point here. So don't tilt your face off if he has a multi-point game. I don't know. I'm still paying up for him. He's still one of my highest owned defensemen on this slate.
Wow,
he's number 2 actually right now for me.
I was fading him because I'm not getting to him, but with this goal total and that kind of like safe floor production, I think he's kind of like he's early season 2019, 20 Brent Burns.
Yep, he's been incredible. What about Shay Webber on the other side, 6,500? He was the guy I noticed yesterday is attempting quite a few shots over his last few games. So I'm going to try to give him a little bit of a bump up. That's a high price, but and you don't have great correlation with the Montreal lines here. But I do still like Weber, like a guy that can score goals, as we've seen recently. Petrie at 5,100, I'm kind of indifferent on.
Oh man, he sucked lately.
Petrie.
Yeah,
he was kind of our guy last year. It felt like he always popped in projections.
He was like 2% on D that you popped in.
Yep. Anything else here?
No. I mean, I think the Washington 3 as well. If you want, like, they're not going to get any ownership. I really like them, but I don't know. It's not the worst place to go. That's all I got.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to St. Louis and Columbus. We've got a 2.9 implied total for the Blues, 2.6 for the Blue Jackets. Jake Allen and Jonas Korpisalo in net.
I was trying to figure out why Columbus is getting ownership. It's because Jake Allen's in.
Well, I think it's just because of their pricing, but yeah, right. That's probably it too. What do you got here? Anything new?
Nothing on the. I think nothing on the. Oh yeah, sorry. Ryan Murray out. Scott Harrington in for the Blue Jackets. Nothing for the Blues.
Nothing. Is De La Rose? Has he been in before?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on the Bozak.
I just noticed him today. Like I don't really play a lot of St. Louis 3 or whatever. I don't play a lot of Jacob De La Rose. No. But it's a short slate, so I guess you got to consider everything. What do you like the best from this game? Anything?
Fading it.
I mean, if I had to wipe one game off the slate, it would probably be this one, which makes me feel like, based on the way that I've been playing, like this game is going to have something good. I guess the best thing that I like thinking about the ownership and just talking with you, kind of discussing things. I was looking at maybe some Columbus 1 as a way to, as sort of a leverage play. Like if Boston 1 doesn't go crazy, a lot of people will still have their Columbus 2 and Columbus 3 stacks. And won't late swap or anything, and I don't think you can fit Columbus 1 perfectly with them. So I was thinking maybe go overweight on Columbus 1 because
they're owned though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. So I don't really have anything that I'm going to be overweight on here, at least that I'm seeing right now.
I have two lines that I do like for Boston stacks.
Who's that?
CBJ4.
Nash, Robinson, Bemstrom. Okay.
Robinson scored, I think, last game. Bemstrom is on the power play 1. They are 0.1% owned.
There you go. That's the testosterone play right there. Stack the fourth lines with all the Boston.
And then I always like throwing in some St. Louis 4, one of my favorite fourth lines to get a little crazy with. So I'll be stacking those up with Boston 1 tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Man. Like St. Louis 4, Barbashev, Sundqvist, they've had some success. I still think the slate, like for me at least, the way I play it, I think it's a little bit too big. Like if this were a 3-game slate or maybe a 4-game slate and there were a few less options, I'd probably consider some fourth lines. And they would probably be in the mix. But I've got nothing really that like
That's fair.
the number.
It's okay to not like fourth lines.
No, I'm saying just like nothing on this game. Like I was getting
Oh,
some of the Wenberg line, but
yeah.
that's gonna get slashed in half because looking at what I have with them, it's like a bunch of Boston 1 and Caps 1, so I'm probably gonna be duped. I would
Yeah.
not like to be duped if I can avoid it, as always. And so I I don't see much of an edge in playing any line on Columbus because I think they're all owned probably where they should be, and
Yeah.
based on how they're going to be deployed tonight, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me at least to like be taking a heavy overweight stand because I don't love the spot. It's just kind of a necessity. Columbus 2 and Columbus 3.
What about Corpusalo?
He's a good. I think he's a good play. Like St. Louis hasn't been good. Corpusalo's 7,200 in a winnable game at home. Probably going to be more of a grinded out pace of play. He's fine. I think I had him in the cheat sheets. He's okay.
All right.
You like him 72?
I don't know. I just kind of got a feeling like Columbus is gonna win tonight.
It's just kind of a weird price. Like
Yeah.
with closer to a pick'em game like this, and maybe DK is factoring in what St. Louis was last year. Like the goalie discrepancy, like $800 difference between Allen and Corpusalo. I feel like they should be closer to like 75 and 7,600 somewhere in there. So kind of the pricing here is weird. It would like it suggests that St. Louis would be some sort of huge favorite on the road here, but they're really not. And it's Jake Allen and net. So who knows what you're getting there? Which St. Louis line do you like better than the other? Talking about the top two.
Oh, I don't know. I guess probably St. Louis 2.
I like the Shen line a little bit better. It's just brutal. Like the St. Louis is a team I played every single slate. It felt like last year, and now they're just
It's not so good. But the thing, I mean, O'Reilly at 3%, I think, is nice. So I'm definitely gonna have some shares. We got David Perron at 1%.
Perron at 1%.
Yeah, give me those guys at like 1/3 the
Wow.
ownership of those one.
I didn't see that. I mean, I'll take Perron playing with O'Reilly at 1%. That's not bad.
Right? Like that's a good play on this slate.
So we've got St. Louis 2 just going completely overlooked. I just felt like they would be in like the 5 to 8% range.
yeah, totally overlooked.
All right, maybe I'll have to rethink that. Maybe, oh yeah, O'Reilly under 4. Wow. Maybe I should rethink that. If people are people playing the Shen line at all? Yeah, they're playing them more. I think those two are pretty close, like I said. So maybe I should rethink that. Defenseman Pietrangelo, 6,300. Looks like he's back on the top unit. Seth Jones, Werenski, and Savard is another guy I'm looking at on Columbus. Anything you like here?
Not really. It didn't really get to much. Crunching, like I don't think I got a single defenseman. I got some Seth Jones, but that's about it. What about yourself?
I'll get to some Werenski and Jones, and then I have Savard in my mix. I like to play guys in the power play, but shorter slate. I'm making some exceptions here. Savard, a guy who I think is probably going to get around 20 minutes here. He's 2,700. He's a guy who can block shots. If things go incredibly well, he can get the block shot bonus and maybe flirt with the 5-shot bonus like he has that in him some games. The problem is just the pace of play. I don't know that there's going to be a ton of shot opportunities for him, but I think got a decent chance at the block shot bonus at 2,700. Falk at 3,700. Price keeps dropping. He hasn't been very good, but he's someone I'm looking to as value because there's not really a lot of it, and maybe a guy who, if you have a Matt Grzelcyk one-off, like and you optimize the lineups in Fantasy Crunch or whatever, maybe you swap that to Falk, a guy who's just at least willing to shoot the puck, where Grzelcyk's upside is a lot of the time tied to his situation in Boston 1. So that would be something I would consider at the exact same price point. Let's go to the last game.
I totally agree.
Flyers, Ottawa, Senators, 3.5 implied total for Philadelphia, 2.9 for Ottawa. Carter Hart and Anders Nilsson in net here. Looks like, once again, some new Ottawa lines.
Yeah, it looks like they mixed things up a little bit. Colin White is off of God, I can't, for whatever reason, Ottawa's just one of these teams that cannot keep their line straight. So Logan Brown is back between Duclair and Kachuk. Kachuk wasn't on the power play one last game. He is listed as on there, but he didn't get any time. Bobby Ryan actually was up there, so I don't know what the reason for that was. Pajot, Brown, and Nick Paul. It's like everyone on their team is named like Brown or Paul. Maybe that's what it is. Bobby Ryan. They have the weirdest names, or the most boring names. Colin White between Ennis and Nemesnikov. Same fourth line. Tierney Ryan. Chalopic. On the Philly side of things, they've switched up their top line, and JVR is down on the third line. Jakub Voracek up on the top line. Kind of like the Philly side of this one.
Yeah, I mean, hard not to, right?
Yeah, but it's not getting ownership.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think they're better spots. I think Philly hasn't really done a lot. Jersey disappointed against Ottawa. They're on the road. That's kind of my thinking. And then they're not that expensive. And Ottawa, like I mentioned earlier, the only team in the bottom 15 in scoring chances on this slate is Ottawa, and Ottawa is fourth or something. So. Same with high danger chances as well. So I don't know. It seems like a spot where maybe I just couldn't. I'm not sure why Philly's going overlooked here.
Give me some Couturier line here. They're lower owned than the top line, and the power play correlation. They're not on the top unit. But as far as 5-on-5, Couturier line should run over everyone they go up against. I think here against Ottawa. Ottawa's been playing a super fast pace, and Philly's been actually decent. Actually pretty good at 5-on-5, I should say, defensively. So give me Couturier, Lindblom, and Konechny at lower ownership than Philly 1. You mentioned Philly 1 not getting a lot of ownership. Farabee, actually, we've got him under 10%. And maybe they'll be a little bit higher. It's always tough to tell when there's multiple lines from a team people will consider. Plus you got JVR and Hayes on the third line. But I really, really do like what I'm seeing from the Couturier, Lindblom, Konechny line.
I think as well, another reason why they're not getting ownership is because they don't fit well with any of the other top stats that are in good spots.
Yeah, so let's do it really quick. Are you talking about the Philly 1 or Philly 2 or both?
Either one. Philly 2 is actually more expensive than Philly 1 by $600, but they're both $16K on DK. But you're not going to be able to fit them in with Boston 1 or Boston 2, and those lines are going to take up about 20-25% of all the ownership on the slate.
Yeah, so you could fit them with New Jersey 1 or a mid-tier line or something like that. But Washington
maybe
1,
Toronto 1.
Yeah, Toronto 1. That's more of a mid-tier line. Farabee got benched last game. Is that right? Do we need to check on this to see if he's...
Sure, check it out.
Yeah, I'll check on that after the show. I mean, I believe him. Ray Rock 215 always in the chat and helping out. But yeah, let me check on that and see if there's anything we need to be worried about as far as him getting benched once again, or if it's kind of blown over and it was just a one-game thing.
He didn't play the entire third period.
The entire third period?
Yep.
Have we confirmed these rushes in the last couple of days since they've played?
Yes, I think I saw a beat writer report them, but
Okay.
I can double check right now.
Okay, well we'll check on that, and maybe we'll just put what we find in Slack, if anything. But for now, we'll just assume that he's going to play on power play 1, and it was just a one-game thing. They shouldn't have a lot of...
Yeah, so they are confirmed.
They're confirmed? All right, cool. So just really underpriced.
No, I don't know if I would worry about that, that benching. It could be a thing, but could also just be a one-off, right?
Right. And they probably weren't... So the thing is, if someone gets benched... later in the game, it's all right, well, your stack's probably sucking anyways if there's a guy in that line that's getting benched, so it doesn't it doesn't really matter that much. It's when someone worried about fumble issues in NFL DFS. It's if he fumbles anyways, you probably that's just worse for the player already, so who cares if he gets benched after that, or who cares if he has fumble issues. It's just kind of a random thing that you can't really account for that well. Yeah, I mean, obviously Philly here, they're going to be probably my highest exposed total team once I factor in the ownership here. I think both of their lines are under-owned from what we're showing, and even if they're 1.5 times what we're showing, if we're a little bit off there, I still think they're both really under-owned. So I like going to them. I think straight up over New Jersey 1. I think straight up over both of these lines I'm talking about. I think straight up over Pitt 1 as well. Maybe the Matthews line I like a little bit better because just, you would expect more condensed scoring from Toronto if they do go off. But, it's just going to be getting the right Philly line, I think, is going to be the toughest thing. But I prefer the second. Like, if I'm building one lineup tonight, I think there's a pretty good chance that I get the second line in there. But I'm building 150. Yeah. All right.
Also, Provorov up on the top unit. Gostisbehere was not just.
All right, perfect. Yeah, we've got actually Provorov listed 5K. It's an okay price. Gostisbehere becomes tougher to play if you're talking about Philly 1, but with Philly 2, with kind of a balanced power play units they've got going on, I think you could still play him or Niskanen with the second Philly second line. Anything you like on Ottawa's side?
No.
I like Tkachuk, but he's 7K. Like,
I like Tkachuk as a one-off a lot. Yeah, actually.
Am I going to play Tkachuk over Taylor Hall? Maybe if
at
the
2% ownership, though.
Is he 2%? Yeah, that's got to be talked about then. They're overpriced. I understand, but I think they have a better than 2% chance of being one of the top stacks. Brown's cheap. Maybe you want to leave him off. Maybe you go with Pajot. Well, not Pajot, because now you're talking about a really expensive line. But maybe you want to go with Colin White and slide him into the top line and go power play here. But it's not like Philly has been a cakewalk defensively. They've been solid. So it's probably just Ottawa 1 or probably nothing for me, more than likely. And then Shabbat. Shabbat rebound after getting a 0. I'm playing.
You're down on the slate?
Yeah, Shabbat, Gio. Carlson will probably get a goose egg as like my highest owned defenseman. I'm playing Shabbat. So, are you?
Yep. Yeah, I'll play a little Shabbat.
I like these guys that are minutes eaters, that are willing to shoot the puck, that play on the top power play. Like, you guys know that I just play these guys, and maybe to a fault sometimes, and I don't look for more value defensively. But I just want the guys that are out there that have a chance at these ceiling games with multiple points and the bonuses, especially this season. So I think he's in play a lot of the times for the combo meal, and so he can get there even without having multiple points if Ottawa can't generate a lot of scoring chances here. So that's why I like these high price guys. Anything else, man?
No.
Maybe
that's it. I think we hit it. Yeah. Sanheim.
He's on third pairing, but he's 3,100. That's another guy that is willing to showcase some offense at times. Promo code NHL Free Week. This is your last chance to get it. Truly, your last chance is today. Use promo code NHL Free Week when you sign up for the NHL Weekly or NHL Weekly Express package. That is a 7-day free trial. You will not get billed. You can cancel whenever you want. But if you want to stick around, you do get access to premium Slack, which is huge on slates, especially when we're expecting late news. We're alerting the channel if we see any new lines. We have projections, ownership projections we're referencing. You can check out some of this stuff on the lineup builder today. And then your line change article, that's also out. Let me go find a link for that. And then we will get out of here. Let's see, we've got the deeper dive in 1 minute. Deeper dive in 1 minute. And then live before lock. I think, I'm not even going to guess who it is. I had it written down earlier today. But it will be the NBA studs that will be taking you up until lock. Alex and Adam Scher are on.
Oh, nice.
That's a pretty good combo, right? If you're talking about NBA DFS.
It's like Wiggins and Towns.
Yeah, I would think more like Jordan and Pippen, but don't want to disrespect those guys. But yeah, go check those guys out if you're playing NBA. And shout out to Yahoo for sponsoring us. Go play on Yahoo. Go support them. They're giving you lower management fees. It's easier over there. So we like easy. So we love top prizes, huge top prizes. But if you want to maximize your long-term ROI, Yahoo might be a great place to play. All right, man. Let's get out of here. I'll have a show tomorrow, probably at normal time. And we'll be going through the Saturday slate. On the contraries tomorrow, we've got the strategy show for NBA. We've got the strategy show for NFL. All that good stuff. I'll keep you guys updated on the show schedule. If you want to see what time it actually ends up being at, just subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out our upcoming videos on the channel, and you can see the time. So there you go. Good luck tonight, guys.